Deliberately the child is disobeying kumuflo, but childishness, why chefye? There are just certain things that because this is a child, they will do certain things. They will drop certain things. I'm sorry, mommy, because this is a child, so that requires your discernment, as to what needs to be done. So it's not always what is negative. So anyway, I'll ask my wife to add.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yes, I've observed like sometimes he does things on purpose. Like you tell him once to stop, he won't, unless you raise your voice. Like I want to stop it. Even be smiling as well, you keep doing the same thing that you're trying to.
That's the boy on
the boy will say, stop it! Then you'll be like, like, and then now you have like a gloomy face,
trying to manipulate you.
And then of course I normally tell him, but those are bad manners, you don't do that. When daddy or mommy rebukes you, you don't give them a face, okay? That's for me, and I say sorry, I'm sorry. And then he goes, So it's something that is ongoing. So like, how long does it take, for kids to normally, to record that this is wrong. Every time I do this, my mom or dad doesn't like it. Yeah.
So, but what are the consequences? What rules have you set that if they do?
To what?
It's 2 years. 2 years.
7. Like, Ngopulanda. Why do you do this? Tabasuka. So, what things does he?
What would that be that would tell him to stop?
So, like, give an example. I tell mama like sockets, things that are very dangerous.
No, things that are dangerous.
Sometimes I even with using a thing.
Like a finger.
Wait, this is very dangerous. No, daddy, I'm sorry. And anyway, I want a hug. I'm not going to give you a hug.
That's a good one.
I'm not going to give you a hug. First say sorry, then I'll give you a hug. Sorry. Yeah, after a few days, the same thing repeats.
I think there must be if you are on a limbo washara nabo.
Sometimes of course knife I've not seen him after I beat him. He would get kitchen utensils, like even a knife. I send he could knife up there, so I would tell the nanny, no, I didn't get a knife. They then at some point actually found him. That's when I beat him. He got a knife. Threatening the sister that I'm going to stab you.
To stab the sister.
No, those are the ones we are talking about, summary dismissal.
So I beat him up, and I've never seen him do it.
You need to find out why. You need to find out why he does that, because or maybe when you are TV.
But they're using a laptop after they store TV, not really.
But depending on what they watch, because the child cannot just say, I'll stab you.
I normally censor every cartoon before they watch it. I have to watch.
No, I mean
because even them they rarely watch any movies because there are very few movies, just from animations.
Because there's no way a child can say that without having seen it somewhere. Especially watching movies that are higher than their age. Yeah, because they want to practice. Like for our children, we never bought a gun for any of our children. And they complained, what are you going to learn? Killing people.
Like our grandson, Kennedy. So even in Angumwa nephew, I'm sure maybe kwali bale tamba nimbitana balabikirako n'abasendwa umwana naye nale tamba.
Oh no, but something just clicks. That movie, The Woman King. At some point I found Ruth watching Yama spears and
Yama
knives
swords,
and
yeah.
I think
Uh-huh. Because that's too high for him to just go and get. Nishikuliwa kwa mwene. Okay, there are certain things yenda na ma stages. Because umwana abashe munganda nangwa makatonzi.
You know, and so when these people come, they will work in the house. Sometimes I've been to places where abakalamba baletamba something maybe 18 plus, but children are seated. They have no recollection that they are affecting, they are traumatizing the children. Yeah, so that is the challenge. So if there is a behavior, which means whatever behavior you see, maybe the sister, the older one is monkey do. So it's either maybe the sister has copied from school and brought it, or it's come from the maid. Yeah. If they don't have other friends. Yeah, that's why we are saying you are not the only one teaching the children. Yeah, so that is the challenge. Yeah, certain things, those knifings, insulting, dangerous things, dangerous to another person, dangerous to the child, those you need to beat, appropriately.
Yeah, because from the moment I beat him up, I even talked to the nanny. I was like, his behavior, she's not proper behavior. Yeah, she's not proper behavior. I've not seen him do that, and I've not seen him touch any knife.
Yeah.
He's just. But of course, I remember previously the previous nanny. At some point, we found watching by YouTube. Like R&B, we just started out doing this home. We
secular songs and videos.
We don't do secular videos because these guys are very young.
Yeah.
So when from that for
Yeah.
And the positive aspect with the nanny, the 2-year-old, whenever the nanny scores and the nanny will hug him. So yeah, whenever you scold him or discipline him or kumkalipira, mommy hug.
Yeah, because they said do not things we should not do. Don't beat out of anger. Although some of us is very difficult to beat when we are not angry. Don't beat out of anger because the anger limit you can't, or at least control yourself. The other thing is that don't withdraw love from a child because they've done something wrong. Don't do things that will affect the self-esteem. So don't break the child down because of what they've done. You have to make sure that their self-esteem is still maintained, if not lifted up. It's very important. Then don't withdraw. Don't deny a child food. Food is never punishment for a child because that is now abuse. Okay, tawalie lunch, tawalie breakfast. That.
Talking about self-esteem. It's like nangwa abana na bina balafai kwa respect. Yes. Akinga namfya nakali abana.
Yeah.
Don't baba nangu palapene. Alishmama.
You are embarrassing the child.
Yes. Nangu mambo kulamkalipira in the presence of the friends. It's better maka send up bedroom. But we should have to watch that. You want me to punch you in the presence of your friends? So we in the bedroom and discipline so that not at master baba nangu. Yes.
Mm. So yeah, it's important. Yeah, we are all very sensitive when somebody does something to you in public, in the presence of other people. It requires maturity and self-discipline, not also to react. Yeah, so that's an important element. Yeah, so the other thing, point number 5, fairness and justice. It's important to be fair. Okay, and in terms of fair, it means that if you do this, if this one has done this and deserves this type of punishment, it should be the same to the other one. You shouldn't be more understanding to this one and not to the other one. Then you start, there is no fairness, there is no justice. And justice entails that if somebody is wrong, receives the appropriate punishment. Justice entails that if something is not wrong, you don't punish them. If somebody is wrong, you punish them. You don't let, injustice is to let the guilty go free and the innocent be punished. So that is important for you to take note of. So the aspect of fairness. So children learn that rules apply equally to everyone, and disciplinary actions are based on the severity of the offense and not favoritism. So how severe is this offense? This is the one that determines whether a child needs to be disciplined or not. Yeah. So the other thing also, it's important, number 6, let's teach the children self-discipline. You know, it's important to instill self-discipline in the children, where the children themselves, they can control themselves, even where they are. And this self-discipline comes about in terms of developing habits, because a habit is actually the mental programming. You know, just like we do in software engineering, programming, you program something. The mind does the programming of our behaviors, regardless of the age, with repetition. Anything you do repetitively, you are actually programming yourself. That's why sometimes if you take the same route, let's say driving, you take the same route, you do that for several months. Next time, I remember one time I was scared. I was so scared after I reached home. I asked myself, how did I don't remember how I turned, how I passed traffic lights and avoided everything else, and I reached home. I didn't remember, but I reached home. Why? I had been conditioned because I was doing it. Because what the mind does, if you are doing something repeatedly, the subconscious mind takes over and leaves you to do other things that requires your conscious mind. So these children need to grow up disciplined. Abana kuti bakumana feso, baisa fyo tuba no twingi tuakumana. You know children who come from disciplined homes and those who don't. Turepitana kwati ntukolwe. Ukunya elo abeninga baise po abana basamwa. Tolokera pabe ni So that is very, very important. So we need children to be self-disciplined. They need to learn to make decisions, correct decisions, right decisions. So we need to empower the children, to be able to regulate themselves. Children, they really, we laugh a lot, we including me and the children, we including me and the children, we're always saying that the children say, when I want to do something, I hear mommy's voice, but school. I hear mommy's voice, it's like, she's spoken. Point number 7, modeling behavior. And this one is very, very important. And this is what my wife said, monkey see, monkey do. They say children don't do the things you tell them. They see, they don't do what they hear. They do what they see. Okay? Children don't do what they hear, or they don't hear what you tell them. They hear what they see you do. Because when you just talk, it's mere talk. If you especially, so when I'm talking about modeling, what I mean here is that you should be examples of what you are telling the children to do. Okay? One of the things that personally, I give credit to myself and not to my wife. Personally, I always answer mkwai. like you answer with respect, even if it's a child. Okay, so our behavior, they will see. If lying is bad, don't let the children hear you lie. Because lying, the only time you know that somebody is a liar is when they are telling something that you experienced with them, that you were there when something was happening. Now let's see how they are going to report it. And the child will know. And children, facts are facts. They don't care whether ulimukalamba or what. They will just say, no, mommy, you are lying. Or daddy, you are lying. So that's why it's important behavior. They see what we do. If you shout at your sir, you shout at madam, the child thinks shouting is okay. It's normal. And it may not be exhibited in a home. He will exhibit it when he gets married. Most of the children who came from abusive homes, most of the men who had abusive fathers, most of them also became abusive husbands. So that is what we are calling monkey see, monkey do. So the monkey will do what he sees, not what he hears. So that's why it's very, very important in many aspects. So when I talk about discipline, you become the role model for discipline yourself. Otherwise, that will become a challenge. So if it's respecting big people, show respect. So number 8, we need to be, so the 8th point is flexibility and adaptability. Now this one, I would want it, especially as the children grow, you have to start adapting and becoming flexible with your rules. Okay? You don't use the same rules for the children who are young and the children who are older. And the older they get, it starts becoming a negotiation now. Okay? If it's time, let's say the rules would be time to come home, for example. Time to come home. You agree. What time are you supposed to come home? You agree, okay, by this time. Or whether you've set a rule, but you need to tell the rule, get feedback from the children about the rules. Don't just say, this is my rule, or what. It doesn't work like that with when children start becoming a teenager. Then they start rebelling. Just to, they know, so they want to make sure that that's the only way they can inflict pain on you. So they will make sure. So you begin to, as they grow, it starts becoming give and take. Okay? This, you've agreed. You agree to the rules, both of you joined. And then you enforce what did we agree? Even the type of punishment changes as the older they get. Beating scissors at a particular age, or else you'll be knocked down. You're knocked down by the sun. If you are very cooler, well nourished. If what are malnourished, so.
And just to add on what he's saying, the other thing also is you need to be able to understand their needs at their certain stage. Every age you need to know their needs. Like teenagers. Because most of the things, so you need to be able to understand, age bashkapo. Like even in dressing, not umwana alimuli erate. Blame fit if she don't want to follow them while the body doesn't age. Yeah, but you need to more flexible but not to go via overboard. You need to be able to explain to them. Not meaning. Why to kind of meaning if. but not naine yakwe bati mwamushitire chitoloshi chikwati chava
Ale umfanenson is feeling shy.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
you need to be flexible. You have at least nine at fit, but not to be overboard. Like you need to explain. You sit with them. You talk to them. Yeah.
I think what is important is listen to the children, no matter how small. Give them an opportunity to express their views. You know, the sense of justice and fairness, we grow with it. We grow with it. So let them give them an opportunity to exculpate themselves. Somebody did, but why did you do this? Why did you? Let them give them an opportunity to speak. Don't shut the children up. It's very, very important. Even if they grow, but why do you do this? Then the child explains. And then you explain, but what did we agree? And let them even answer for themselves. What did we agree? Hey, we agreed so, but why did you do this? Let the child, you'll find most of the cases are, no, I'm sorry, mommy, or daddy, I'm sorry. So remember we talked about the foundation of child bringing and discipline is friendship. Remain friends with the children. Have time to laugh, to chat, to have fun. One of our children, one of our two daughters, she went to school. They both went to Mlongoshi. So when she went to school to Mlongoshi, she would see the friends, the parents come, they pass through, they bring parcels. And then they start comparing and start thinking, my parents don't love me, because, we are parents, the parents like us. We lived in a time when, if you were in a boarding school, for those who were in a boarding school, when the parents, they put you on a bus. That is if you are like they escorted you. In most cases, you went on your own. So you jump on a bus. That is the last time you see them. The next time you see them is when you are coming back. Now, this time, Kavanama school visits, their school visits, all those things, you have to go. Why? Because they are friends. Now they'll compare with their friends and then they think you don't love them. So those, you'll have to, and it will appear like you don't love them and those things are not good. But what is important is, even if we may have grown up in that era, this is a different era. Adaptability, listen to them, hear them before you even enforce punishment or discipline. So that is very, very important. And that's what number 9, we're talking about dialogue and understanding. We need to make sure that there is always dialogue between children and their parents. Give children an opportunity to speak, to exculpate themselves before even discipline is enforced. It's very, very important, so that, like, for example, we know that immediately we break the law, we start expecting punishment. It's natural. If you just break let's say traffic rules, nga walufya nyato wamba nokula alolesha nga kuli kukapokola ukumwene. If there is a policeman who has seen you, and and if they have seen you, your heart jumps and it just lifts the hand, you immediately stop because you know you are wrong. And this is the importance of children growing up in a structured environment. It's very, very important. It's very, very important.
I remember one time Great East Road. Okay, I was driving my sister. When a friend days, I don't know. Anyway, it was not so bad. It was, I think, you want to get to the past 65.
Takwa rule. If you break the rule at 60.1, you've still broken the rule.
I was driving my sister. So I don't know, for some reason. This man so now when I came out of the car, I just lifted my hands. But I'm so sorry. I don't know what happened. I just lifted my hands and said, I'm so sorry. I don't know what happened. But when I was coming, I was at 60. This man looked at me, Every man can
Yeah. So that is the
And, before you go to number 10, was it last week I was, I saw an Africa clip at the strictest parents. So I got let me see what
it attracted your attention.
attracted my attention, yes. So I started watching. No, but the parents were so strict, Kubana. Yeah, from the time they were born until now, when they reached their age and teenagers. They continue now to be strict. So now one time, they even did they homeschooled their children. They didn't allow shine. So now, one time, but one of was it the son? I don't know, first who went out. I am an Efitzka Ponce. Oh no. It was so bad. Aya kuja Ponce, fya ile fano mkashana wa Ponce, au pano kupa.
Yes, at first sight.
The second, the daughter, the oldest daughter. Naina katushe fya ile monoko, fya ile alewela panganda na alidaisha ne mishishe. Is it purple or red?
Twice I got that attack.
No, the sad part was all the children started like rebelling.
Yeah.
Yes, it's like Mambo, when they were talking to other people, the people, and you know the people out there.
And they were really rub it in.
So now the saddest part is when the son married and brought the wife Kunganda. So the mother said a lot of things like, no, so when they left, the daughter, the wife was telling the son, now I don't think it. With your parents. Why you call Vangata or accept? Because you're all in Kalamba. How can your mother
be talking to you like that?
So if I should have your Kunganda, I show me Kashimoto. Then okay, we are moving out of this town. We are going somewhere else.
Why? I'm sure I said, but why?
So the mother wanted to go and say bye to the wife. He said, I'm not going to allow you. Why? No. The mother wanted to insist. It was so sad. It was so okay. Not even forward, but last even the wife left home. The wife at 8.
The old parents, as in the parents.
The parents. It's a real story.
So who was implementing those rules? It was the husband.
The husband and the wife was in the forefront. But it's like after the children rebelled, I think
maybe baliamba kuba ati niwe bwalengere.
So that's how the wife found another man. She got married to another man after 8 children. And woke up after 8 children.
You know, one time, just when they started becoming teenagers, I think they struggled with the mother. Yeah, because the mother, this one. Because the mother was still. So one time, I don't know where I picked them from. And I remember we were, Papa Mosque, SDA here, the mosque, So we were using that route inside, like when you turn immediately, then coming up to. So we are using that route. I'm sure we are trying to avoid traffic. So to kulala bale idishanya shani amarusi demusha ngana tukula shani especially mommy. Now what surprised me, the one who was giving examples was Namonda. Namonda was the smallest. You know what happened to this boy? The parents were very strict. The first time they left them alone. Hey, this is what they did. I said, yeah. So that is the challenge that is there. So let's look at point number 10, and I think I've already talked about it. That is unconditional love and support. Unconditional love and support to children. In other words, regardless of what you do, no matter how much you are disciplining them, you don't hate them. They are not, you don't hate them as individuals. You hate the behavior. It's the behavior you don't like, not themselves. You love them, and therefore you continue to love, to show love, you continue to give them the support. You don't withdraw, like we mentioned, you don't withdraw love from the children because they've done something wrong. And that's why it is important to differentiate from bad behavior and a bad child. There are even things like, you're a bad child. You know where you instead of attacking the behavior, you're attacking the child. Instead of attacking what the child is doing wrong, you're attacking the integrity of the child. And that's why my wife says it's important not to do it publicly. I remember one time I would joke with my son. You know, the problem with being a joking type is that sometimes you don't know how you think you are just joking. Kanshi, my son was getting offended. Even if you are public. Now I don't know whether he complained to the mother, and then we complain to the mother and think the mother says, go and talk to your father. I don't know. But anyway, I suspected. So I just saw this one, Dad, I want to talk to you. Like first, when I'm told that I want to talk to you, my mind starts going, flashes back to my father. My time. You can call your father and say, I want to talk to you. Who are you? So I want to talk to you. Filefio mulanda pabantu ine nchumfa wino. Shan. Nishini nkosa mutima ndenge abofye. Na son, but no, I didn't know, I'm sorry, I will not do it again. But nishele nde shanya, you are this stage. Shan. But I just realized that, you know, this is the stage where we are at. Yeah. So basically, in a nutshell, those are the 10 rules of bringing up children, upbringing, disciplining. Because you see, ultimately, you have to know that the essence God gives us children is to prepare them to succeed in their own life. That when they go into society, they will be successful. They will not be misfits. So if you can prepare children where they can grow and succeed out there, independent, they can have a successful life, they can have good families, themselves also disciplined. If you are a godly parent, children also become godly and raise godly families. It means you have successfully raised your children, and you are supposed to be. You need to thank God that God gave you the grace to actually successfully raise your children. You don't want your children to become misfits when they go out there, where they fail to succeed. They go and then they start coming back. They can't survive. It means you didn't train the children properly. It's an important element. You can't underestimate just how much your lives and your character and your discipline has actually impacted the children. Even the question you are saying, when does me, I was surprised. Something happened to me that was happening when I was growing up in the village. I only realized when I was at a university. And I was at a university in my early 20s. I'm not like some of you went to the university in your teens, you know. We go at the end of second year. In social work, we were sent in the village. You go to the rural area and stay there for 6 weeks. I think we even stayed there shorter. So you went to you did your practicals. You lived in the village. You stayed there. We were sleeping at a school. You cooked for yourselves, and then you had a program within the village. You did some programs. I identified a problem. I had a sports club, and then the second activity I had was to teach literacy to a group of women. Now these women I was teaching were I was teaching them in a language I didn't understand. I was teaching them in Nyanja. So I was reading for them, and they were correcting the accent, the way you pronounce, the pronunciation, you know, and things like so. Now the story here is that there's a man. We were in the same class. We had been together 2 years. Now we are living together. We cook food, we start eating, and this man starts eating. The fide vale tukanya when we were growing up. And so it so grieved me. But it was all elderly, and you know, respect. There's certain things you cannot just do and say with somebody you respect. I felt so bad and so irritated. Then it dawned, I said, so it appeared like the Twale Umfwa. And they kept on telling me, Ukubuka. And Pantufa were not allowing us, when you pick a piece of Inshima, no matter how hot it is, blowing it. Ukubuka. You know, like you are greedy, you know, something. So you jakufu afye. So that was the challenge. But what I'm saying is that as we do these things, the children are being programmed. And the programming at home is because you are the first contact with authority, first contact with love, first contact with rules and discipline. They will learn about God through you and your behavior, how you pray. And that's why the Western world is godless, because children have never seen their parents pray. You know? So that is very important. But in all this, it's important to teach them the word of God. To teach them the word of God. The Bible tells us in Deuteronomy chapter 6 and chapter 12 that you teach the word of God. When you sit with the children, the Bible says, talk to them. When you're lying down, talk to them. You know, those people used to lie with their children together. When they were young, the mother would sleep on the other side, the father on this side, then the children would sleep in between. That's why Christianity, Nangubale Ipontera these days, it has brought about civilization. Because wherever, in India, when a husband died, the wife was also bent together because they said women had no souls. So when the Bible goes there and says, and God created them in the image of God, male and female created he them. Well, I'm saying enjoy children because, you know, you may think when they are young, you think the children need you. But when you grow older, you think that children survive because of you. But when you grow older, you realize you survive because of them. You realize that they don't need you, you need them. There is a time when children want to be with you and you are busy. There's a time you would want to be with them, they will also be busy. You know, this time I want to talk to my son, the chap is not available. You know, if I don't call him, he does. If I don't send a message, he will rarely. After 2 weeks, 3 weeks, he will not call. He will not say, it's rare for him to say, Dad, how are you? Unless maybe there's an event, a birthday or something like that. Okay? So you enjoy these children. Have time with them, have fun, play with them, go out with them. Children need their parents more than they need toys. The biggest toy they want is that. You know, because today we have parents that are giving children things except themselves. Because that doesn't fill a void in a need that a child has for affirmation, for just even feeling loved, feeling accepted and accepted, which parents provide to the children. And you know, children are always here. God has created something in them that just wants, the children always just wants to please the parents. Even when you have grown up, you want, when something happens, you want, your parents to be happy. I don't know what happened at one time when something happened and I was thinking, I wish my father was alive. He would have seen how successful I've become. I don't know what I did. You know, things like that. There's just something that, and that's why it's very important to have a very good, a positive relationship with children. And it is to control them. I think the other thing that I think my wife must have explained to you, even just teaching children to know, to make sure that abuse by any other person is very difficult, is almost impossible. You make sure whenever you're with them, you tell them. When somebody does this to you, you come and report. When don't allow somebody to do, there are certain boundaries. Like my wife would not allow a girl to go and sit on the laps of uncle, and don't let somebody touch you. These are private parts. Don't let somebody touch you. If somebody does this, you come and report, you tell me. Even if they threaten, they might even tell you, if we do to kill you, they're just lying, they don't want to do. So you tell them in advance what they should know and what should happen. And it's very, very important actually to be able to do that as you raise children, and just to protect them, shield them, pray for them, pray for their protection, that they will not be abused, they will grow up normal, they will not be traumatized. Because sometimes trauma, it destroys children's lives. And especially that which happens when they